Hello, my name is Evan Cure, and this is my CCA 2 for Geography 202. And in this speech, I'm going to be discussing a personal encounter with another culture. And that culture is South Korea, and I'm going to discuss my personal encounter with a media element, which is the show Squid Game. So, Squid Games is a dramatic Netflix series that actually came out in September of 2021. It's South Korean again, so the show is actually in Korean, but you can watch it translated to English. So um, the mouth or the words don't necessarily line up, but it is easily communicated to the viewer in both Korean and English. It got really strong reviews and was actually the number one show on Netflix for a while. So basically, what the show is, to summarize it very fast, is that the participants get brought in secretly to this island, and they have to play 6 games. And if you lose a game, you actually are killed. And at the end of the 6th game, there's one remaining, and they win a final prize of an extremely large sum of money. So the incentive there is to win a large prize, and people are willing to put their lives on the line for it. The show is extremely gory. There's lots of death and violence. Again, they're not killed in a sweet and kind and tender way, but actually usually shot. And the cinematography in it's very creative. It includes some beautiful landscapes, but overall it's very simple for a reason. It's supposed to be kind of desolate. So I'm going to talk about my encounter with it. My personal encounter with it was that it was very unsettling. I will say that the show sucked me in, but overall, a word I would use is unsettling. It's a hard show to watch. Lots of death, lots of hard topics going on. Lots of people turning on each other. Kind of shows the development of so-called gangs within the show and within the game. I was very moved by the depth of each character. Exactly what made them so desperate for money. And we'll go into that later on in this discussion. Again, talked about the uncomfortableness. There's this wealth gap showed in that people are actually betting on the characters, this wealthy elite that really don't care about the lives of the impoverished who are going into this game. You learn a lot about the human nature, or I learned a lot about the human nature and about what humans do and how we act when faced with death. So I think there's a lot of lessons in this. So I want to talk about what lessons that my encounter taught me with the show Squid Game. So the show alludes to and gives insight on the injustice happening in South Korea, but broader scope. It shows a lot about injustice and poverty all over the world. So it highlights these marginalized communities who really don't have a lot of money and who would be willing to die for a way out of that poverty because the system is inescapable. So the main character, he is from South Korea. His life is really hard. He has no money. He's trying to provide for himself. He's willing to gamble. Actually, in the first episode, gets beat up because he can't pay back money. He's willing to gamble. And he's repressed in his own country, and he wants to escape that way for a better life, even though he sees that this show is not morally right, or the game is not morally right. There's a sub-character, which I found really interesting, from Pakistan, and it represents these migrant workers who are coming to a different country, South Korea, which isn't great in its own way, wishing to make more money for his family. I mean, it kind of shows insight of him talking home, of him trying to make money for his family. I think overall lesson was that it made me thankful for the financial situation that I'm in and that I don't have to risk my life to get out of the current living situation I'm in. It was an eye-opener for the situation in South Korea and many other places where poverty seems inescapable. And overall, the show was fantastic. And I think this Korean drama, they did just a phenomenal job sucking the viewer in. It's why the show was number one for a while. Anyways, thank you guys so much and have a great day.